Hello, you're listening to Over the Oxer podcast with Tracy Cole for all things to do with the mind for equestrians. Welcome this week to Lisa Hansford. Lisa has lots of years in the saddle, over 30 years in the saddle, and she's the proprietor of Ace Adults Horse Camp and a lifelong equestrian. And she's really passionate about helping adult riders thrive. During her riding career, she's won the Queen's Cup at Royal Windsor. She's competed at HOYS and enjoyed success across eventing and show jumping, showing and dressage at grassroots level. Through every high and every low, horses have shaped her journey, and she's passionate about sharing the lessons, the confidence and the joy that they bring. And she's also going to tell us a little bit about her YouTube channel, which I just love. I won't say the title at the moment, but I think it's brilliant. So welcome, Lisa.
Hiya.
So just to kick off then, how did your own horsey journey begin? Were you from a horsey family?
Absolutely not. My parents were just not into horses whatsoever. For some reason, the bug got me from a very early age. I just had this connection with horses. And I would, like, growing up, we'd got at the back of us, we'd got a farm. And my parents would not see me from one day to the next. And even when I think back of me, and I'm probably about 8, 9, at the time my dad had an old Granada, and it was like a silver Granada car. And I'd be at the field, and there was a woman there that, looking back now, she was obviously a dealer and she was breaking horses in. And you'd be walking down the field and she'd be like, "Oh, Lisa, can you get on this pony?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, of course I can." No hats, no nothing. Can I hop on this pony? And she'd like, "Oh yeah, trot me round on the lunge," and things like that. But now thinking back, I'm like, yeah, I was actually breaking her horses in, and I didn't know. I was like 8, 9. I was like, I'd hop on anything, I was fearless.
Yeah.
But getting back to my dad, so then I'd be like down the field, and then I would just see the top of my dad's car pull up, and I'd go running over, and there on a tray would be my Sunday dinner, because that was the only way I would eat, because I lived, breathed, and slept. Just everything that I did was horsey. And then I had a horse called Lancer. It was a little Palomino pony. And my parents were like, "Yeah, okay, you can have the pony, but the minute you moan, the pony goes." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem. Not just, we were. It was a different world when I was growing up with ponies. You were lucky if you had a saddle.
Yeah.
There'd be one felt pad on the whole field, and everybody would use that one felt pad. You'd invariably ride with a head collar and 2 lead ropes.
Yeah.
It was just, life was simpler. We didn't have the pressure that the kids of today have. If I turned up at the field with a pair of torn jeans, well, I turned up with some torn jeans. It didn't matter. I didn't have to have matchy branded goods.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we just enjoyed life. We got like one track where the farmer used to go up and down in his tractor. So you'd have like the wheels were dug out where the tractor wheels would go, but then the middle bit was like a grassed raised bit, and we would just gallop up there, flat out, as fast as we could go. In fact, the faster the better,
Yeah.
And then we would hack out on the roads, and any little grass verge, as soon as you hit the grass, that would be, you'd canter, you'd stop, then you'd walk. I mean, we obviously knew we couldn't canter on the road or the pavements, but any opportunity with a little bit of grass, and we were off. Thinking back, farrier wouldn't come out to you. You would have to hack to the farrier.
Yeah.
And we had one farrier, and he'd obviously got a bit of a drink problem, but he was cheap. He used to go and drag him out the pub. But again, you wouldn't see the farrier until the last shoe had fallen off your pony.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like every 6 to 8 weeks like it is now.
Yeah.
You would literally, I've got 4 shoes on, now I've got 3, now I've got 2. Oh, I've only got one now. I need to go to the farrier. You know. And yes, it was very simple, but I can never remember a horse having colic. I can never remember a horse having laminitis
Mm,
or ulcers or anything like that. And I'm not saying that they didn't, but I cannot remember that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that makes you think, is it modern management? Is it the modern foods that we're told that we need to put into horses? I don't.
Yeah.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
I would definitely agree with you there that there's something massive that's changed, and whether it's we're overworming or over vaccinating, or like you say, the food that we're giving them, there's something massive that in our care system, in trying to do the best for
Yeah,
them, we're actually doing them a disservice. I would definitely agree with that.
yeah.
So, how did you get from ponies to Royal Windsor?
Right. So then, now I'm probably about 13, and I'm thinking I'm starting to moan because there's other things to do. My friends are going out and they're doing all sorts, and I'm starting to think, well, actually, I want to go and do that. So I start moaning. And true, if my parents said something, then their word was their bond. I started moaning, the pony went. That was it. So I got out of horses, and then in the early 80s, probably about 84, I went to a motocross meeting with my cousins, and I was at the motocross meeting, and I said, I'd love to have a go at this. And this lad said to me, "Don't be stupid. Girls don't do this." And that was it.
Oh.
I was like, "Don't they? I'll show you." So I go home and I say to my mum, "I want a motocross bike." And my mum's like, "What? You've never been on a motorbike?" I said, "I want a motocross bike." And I brought a 1982 KX125 liquid cooled Kawasaki. And it was bright green. I'd never sat on a motorbike in my life. So where we were at the time, there was a place called Lady Bradford's, and I used to take this motocross bike over to Lady Bradford's, and I would ride it round, ride it round, ride it round, until eventually I was on it more than times than I was off it. And then I uh, then what I did was I started racing for the AMCA. Now, at the time, I know girls do it now, but at the time in the early 80s, I think up and down the whole of England or the UK, I think there was probably about four, maybe five female riders. I was one of those.
Yeah. Wow.
And, but I, only, I would have probably happily gone along just watching the motocross. But when that lad said to me, women, don't be stupid, girls don't do this,
Yeah.
just lit something in my
Yeah.
belly, and I thought, "Don't they? I'll bloody show you," you know.
Yeah.
And that was and then I did motocross for about maybe 4 or 5 years, and I was like top 10, only at the bottom level, but I was top 10. But what I will say is, yes, women can compete with lads on a certain level. So, and that's where the beauty of horses is,
Mm,
because it has no discrimination.
yeah.
It doesn't discriminate against the riders, and I think that's why I love it. So whether you're disabled, whether you're male, female, whatever race you are, religion or anything like that, it doesn't discriminate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is the beauty. But when I did motocross, even though, I mean, in the early 80s, people didn't go to the gym, I did because I had to,
Mm,
because I was not, even though I went to the gym and I was very muscular, I was never ever as physically strong as a male.
yeah.
They always had that upper hand of strength
Yeah.
naturally. So if I came off my bike, I couldn't just pick it up off the floor, but I adapted. It went onto my hip, and then I used my hip to get it in an upright position to get back on. So I, I managed it, but
Mm,
that when we think about, equal sports and things like that, uh, men are naturally stronger than women. And yes, you can go to the gym and you can pump iron and things like that, but they will always have that natural strength. And that was something that I learned early on in doing the motocross.
yeah.
Yes, I looked physically stronger than half of the lads, but they were naturally. I had
Yeah.
to work at it, whereas theirs was natural strength.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, like with the horses, you haven't got that. You know, the horses are our strength,
Yeah. Yeah.
and without the horse, then we haven't got anything. You know, so yeah, so I did motocross. Then I had a bad accident, and I tore my cruciate ligament,
Ooh. Yeah.
and I carried that injury with me for about 10 years till eventually it completely snapped, and I had to have it reconstructed, and then that was a good repair. And then I was sort of just getting on with life, you know, getting married, having a child, building a career, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then in the I don't know, it's right, my husband's just messaged me. So I was building a career, and then a friend, well, me and a friend decided that, or should I say, I decided that I would part loan this horse. So I rang my friend, who's been a friend from when we were like probably two, and I said, Michelle, I'm going to loan this horse. She was like, oh, great, I'll come up. So I don't even know what breed this horse was. It was like, but it was a big shirey thing, and its feet were like plates, you know,
Yeah.
absolutely huge. And so Michelle came with me, and I loaned this horse off this woman. Well, it was a bugger to catch, and so where it was at the yard, you'd have to go like up a really long track, then through like a bit of a ford, and then it was the field. Anyway, we'd traipse up this field, and this horse would take one look at us and think, "Oh, today, ladies," and we'd be like, "Come on, let me see." Anyway, the one day we Michelle and I had traipsed up this track, and we literally got this horse, and we looked at each other and we just said, "Stuff it." We went, and then we decided, right, because Michelle had got a good career and I'd got a good career, so we hadn't got the time, or we didn't think we'd got the time to have a horse each. So we were like,
Mm.
right, we'll buy one. So I have done a video on this. It's actually quite a funny story. So we go and look at this horse. We're very naive, you know. I mean, yes, I've ridden with ponies, but in the horse world, we were both very naive. So we go and look at this horse. Anyway, the woman's there, and she's like, "Oh yeah," she said, "I haven't got anybody to ride it because my daughter's hurt her knee, but I can lunge it for you." So anyway, we see it on the lunge, and I can't even remember. I don't even think we sat on this horse. So so we were like, yeah, we really like it. I mean, gorgeous looking horse, you know. And so I said to Michelle, I think we need to get it vetted. So we had it vetted, but it failed the vetting. So I was like straight away, no, it's failed the vetting. We're not going to have it. But at the same time, on while we were on this yard, a girl had brought a horse from a local dealer, but this horse was on like death's door. And the first night that the girl had the horse, she slept in the stable with it because they didn't think
Oh,
it was going to make it through the night.
oh God.
You know, I think you've frozen. But yeah, so she slept in the stable because they didn't think it was going to make it through the night. And so Michelle and I were then like, you know what, that one we looked at, that's quite a good buy, really. But
In
nothing had changed.
comparison.
Exactly. Nothing had changed other than this girl's bought a horse that's like nearly dead, and the one we looked at, it wasn't sound, but it wasn't nearly dead.
No, no.
So I mean, I laugh at it now, but so anyway, we ended up we brought this horse, and it arrives, and it, it's it's been an experienced show jumper, and it's obviously got a history when I reflect back on it now. But it just you'd see it would see a show jump, and it would physically shake, you know. And if it decided it wasn't going somewhere, it wasn't going, you know. And so after about 3 weeks of owning this horse, every time Michelle got on it, it just fired her off. It just did not like either the way she's rode it or what. It just didn't like Michelle. And then the one day we was in the barn, and I was cleaning its sheath because it stunk. And Michelle literally walked up the barn to chat to me. She didn't do anything or anything, but this horse suddenly, from just being quite relaxed and having its sheath cleaned, it was like trying to cow kick at Michelle. And she was like, "That thing doesn't like me, that thing." And I actually thought, I agree, it doesn't. It genuinely it doesn't like you. I don't know if you resemble the owner or
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
it's not liking about you. And but I knew that she'd done nothing to it. So it was nothing that she'd physically
Yeah.
done. It just didn't like her. And so anyway, I had to buy her half of this horse. So now I've ended up with this horse of my own on my own. And I've had him for about 18 months. And I'm literally just going 20-meter circles round in the school, you know. And I just thought, you know what? There's got to be more to life than this. And this isn't what I want, you know.
Mm. Mm.
If I took him out the back, we'd got donkeys out the back. He knew the donkeys were there. He was just like, I'm not going anywhere. But I wasn't experienced enough to say, you're okay, go on. So I'd be like, okay, I'm not going either.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just turn back, you know. And I sometimes think, I wonder what he would be like if I owned him now,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. But I mean, he'll be long since departed. So that was that. Anyway, cut a long story short, there was a guy that I knew. Well, I sort of knew him. His parents had just bought a livery yard, but his sister had just lost her horse, but she wasn't a rider. But because it was a family thing, the lads rode and things like that, she wanted a horse just to pony path, to groom and stuff
Mm.
like that. And I thought, perfect. That would be perfect for him, and it would be a perfect end to possibly what's been a traumatic life for him,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. So anyway, she ended up having him from me, and then Michelle had got her horse by then. She'd bought another one, so I haven't got a horse, and I'm actually thinking. I mean, I'm at such a low ebb because this horse has knocked that much confidence out of me. I'm just I wouldn't even go over a trotting pole or anything, you know. That's how much I was petrified of this horse. And then my instructor at the time said, "Oh, Franklin International's got some cobs in. Go and have a look." So I go over, and I don't know if you know Neil Hamer, Franklin International. Well, he was Franklin National. So I go over and I see Neil, and he's got this like Welsh section D, chestnut, flaxen mane and tail. Anyway, I get on it, ride it round, and I'm just like, well, this horse doesn't know anything. It's only like a 4-year-old. This doesn't know anything. I don't know anything. It's no good for me. So I get back to the yard, and Michelle said, "Oh, what did you think?" And I said, "He doesn't know anything. I don't know anything. It's not for me." Anyway, she said to me, she said, "Come on, let's go back and have another look." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So we go all the way back to have a look at him. Anyway, I'm on him again. And at the time, they were like taking down a corrugated building. So the guys were like dropping sheets of corrugated metal, one on top of the other.
Oh,
And no, but Flash just was
yeah.
like,
Just
and I
yeah.
was like, that is what I want. And it was the corrugated metal that made me decide that I was buying that horse. And do you know what? It was the best decision I ever made. So first year I just did in-hand showing with him and just rode him at home. And then I think the second year I did a couple of local ridden shows. And then I started doing county showing with him. And that was it. Yeah. And I'd say within maybe 2, maybe 3 years of having him, I was doing county workers because every time I got on him, my confidence just grew and grew and grew.
Yeah.
You know, I was still the same person, but the horse gave me that confidence
Mm.
rather than the other one that was destroying it,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. And that was how I got back into horses. So then I had Flash, and then I'd say Flash was like he got like 4 gears. But you could put anybody on him. You know, I could put my granny on him. She could have gripped on, terrified on
Yeah.
the road, but Flash would have gone, I know I only walk or trot on the road. And
Yeah.
he would have just, even if they were gripping, woo,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
he would have just gone, okay, I'll just be gentle and I'll just walk for you. He was that kind of horse.
Mhm.
And then I brought Dade. And again, I'd gone up and down the country looking for a horse. And then the one day I just opened the paper and it had got our local area code. And I thought, oh, I'll just ring. But I was looking for a bay with a white blaze and 4 white socks. Why, I don't know, but that's what I was looking for. So I go up and look at Dade, and he's a chestnut, 1 white sock, and a bit of a squiggle. And And he was literally, so where my yard is now, he's probably I brought him probably within half a mile of where my yard is now. That's how
Oh,
bizarre
good
this
boy.
story is.
Yeah.
So I go and see him, and anyway, I ride him round, and I like him. So I then get my friend, and I say to my friend, "Can you come over and have a look at this horse? I'm thinking of buying." So I get back on him. Well, he absolutely takes off with me in this field, and off I go. He's just gone. Anyway, I come back and I said to my mate, "I'm having him. I love him." She was like, even now, if we go out, she goes, "I'll never forget that day we went to look at Dave." Yeah, because, but even though he took off with me, I felt safe,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was what made me think I am having that horse,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because it was the feeling, not his behaviour, because his
Yeah.
behaviour was pretty, it was pretty naughty on the scale of things, but
Yeah.
I felt safe, and that was important to me. So I had him vetted. Obviously, he passed the vetting, and then I had him as a 4-year-old, just coming 5. And then, and this will lead on quite nicely to, so then he was like, maybe I'd had him only about 8 months, and this was at a time before the internet and all this, and I'm looking at a local horse magazine, and I see an advert for a horse camp. And I was like, "Oh," just caught my eye, and I thought, "I'll have a little bit of read of this."
Yeah.
And I think it was I know it was Bobby and Jane, but I think it was Bobby Cornthwaite, I think her name was. I may have got that wrong, but it was Bobby and Jane. So it was Bobby Cornthwaite and Jane Walker, and they were doing horse camps at Somerford Park. So I happened to ring, and I rang, and I spoke to Jane, and she was like, "Yeah, we've just had a space become available." So I went on this horse camp with this young horse that I'd got. And you know what? I've still got friends from that very first camp. And that was 20 odd years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was my first introduction to horse camp. And then I did one camp, and then I became like a camp addict, as you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then after, I think they ran for a couple of years, and then they sort of split the camps off. So one went as Bobby's horse camp, and Jane went as active rider. And then I sort of naturally just went with Jane, and then I would help in the background her do active rider. And that was how I'd been involved in horse camps for over 20 odd years.
Wow.
Um, Not the organising, that was
Yeah.
always,
Yeah. Yeah.
Jane was the organiser, but I would then just support her and help
Yeah.
her organise them.
Yeah.
Uh, and then
Fabulous.
obviously a couple of years ago, she decided that she wasn't going to run anymore, and asked if I wanted to take over.
Yeah.
And initially, I was like, no, not really. You know, I don't know if I want that kind of responsibility. But then when I thought about it, I thought, yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot. And
Yeah.
that's how Ace Adult Horse Camp came about.
Brilliant. And I mean, I joined you on one of the camps, didn't I? And what I noticed at your camp was the atmosphere. It was almost like everyone was on holiday. It, it really was like a party, but not a party that was getting out of control, but a nice party atmosphere. Everyone talking, chatting, relaxing, and I didn't really see people riding because they were over in the distance from where I was, but I saw people walking out to the menages and arenas, and they just were like beaming. Do you know what I mean? They were like so on it for having a lesson.
Yeah.
It was such a lovely, lovely, lovely atmosphere. What do you think's different about your camps?
So I think with mine, I mean, firstly, I'm going to say me, because I'm the type of personality. If I'm panicking, we need to panic. Do, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
I am a proper relaxed kind of person, and I'm like that in every walk of life, you know. And there's nothing that is unfixable.
yeah,
So, and I'd like to think that when people do come on one of my camps, what they're going to be guaranteed is no clickiness, no
yeah,
favoritism. Everybody's treated as part of our family, you know. So yes, I'm the organizer. But everybody that's at camp, that's the campers, the coaches, the professionals that we have come in, we're all a family, and we're all working together to have the best weekend or the best camp that we can possibly have. And I think that's, uh, I'm not saying other camps don't do that, but my priority is the camp isn't for me, the camp is for my campers.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So if I don't know, say they've brought a horse and they're having a problem, do you know what? Come and tell me and we'll sort it out, because there's nothing that we can't sort out.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't shoot your horse, I can't give it any medical intervention, but if it's within my remit, then my priority is to make that camp experience the best it can be for you,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and
And
and sort of allaying people's fears, especially when you go to a camp on your own. And I did. I mean, I've got no fear going to places on my own, so that wasn't an issue for me. But I know for a lot of people it is an issue,
yeah.
and so that's why, like, one of our things is it's Ace Adult Horse Camp, no strangers, only friends. Because I believe that,
Mm.
you know, if you're into horses, you will never not have a friend, because you could be anywhere. We just talk a garbaged horse chat.
Yeah.
It, it could be anything, but you just have that connection.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think for you? Because I know you've now been part of the camps for many years, and you must have seen hundreds and hundreds of different partnerships. What's the most rewarding part for you?
For me, and I think I can talk, and not that I want to put words in her mouth, but and I would say for Jane as well, when we, when, because we did camps for a long time together. But I think the rewarding part of being involved in horse camps is watching people develop and
Yeah.
watching them blossom. So they come, and then all of a sudden they leave, and they leave thinking they could probably go around badminton.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying that they would,
Yeah.
but they are that. They come thinking, "Oh, I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't do this and I can't do that." And then they leave thinking, "Oh my God, look what I've done."
Mm.
And then they get the pictures that confirm what they've done.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the whole process, and it just makes people suddenly blossom.
Yeah.
And that to me is the reward.
Yeah. Yeah. And when people do come, and I know some people who come on the camps are very, very competent, very, very confident, but not everybody is. How do you help the people who might be a bit nervous or lacking confidence?
Right. Okay. So on the camps, when we do the bookings, we ask what the level is, but
Mm.
we also ask what level that you think you are. So that could be a beginner or a new combination. It
Yeah.
could be novice. It could be experienced but lacking confidence.
Yeah.
And it could be experienced, very confident.
Yeah.
So that's the rider. That's how the rider's viewing themselves. Then we ask them what levels they want to do. So we start from intro up to elementary plus for the dressage.
Yeah.
We start from show jumping, we do poles up to a metre plus whatever. And then cross country, we're up to 60 centimetres, and then anything. So we're catering for everybody, nation they want. So somebody that's very novice may only want to do intro dressage and then poles. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
If somebody just wants to do dressage, and we'll try and cater for that. If somebody wants to do just cross country, we'll try and cater for that. Same with show jumping. We will try and cater for what anybody wants to do. But even though somebody may be very novice and go out on the cross country, the responsibility or the decision will always be with the rider.
Yeah.
So if the rider genuinely doesn't want to jump something, they don't have to jump it. We're adults.
Yeah.
That's the difference. It's an adult camp, and we make that final decision.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want to try and push ourselves, but ultimately, we're not there to get anybody injured, and we're
Yeah.
not there. No, but the coaches aren't either. We're
Yeah.
not there to get anybody injured, and we're not there to have somebody leave less confident than they arrived. So the whole camp is about progressive training. So
Yeah.
you will stick with the same coach for that discipline. So they will see you on the first day. They probably don't know you from Adam. They will assess you and teach you on the first day, but then second day they'll be looking to move you on.
Yeah.
And that's where the blossoming takes place, because we don't just keep you at one place. We are there to progress you.
Yeah.
And you know, I personally select what I consider the best coaches for my camps that suit my relaxed vibe, that
Yeah.
suits my camps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the important thing. And at the end of my camps, we do like a feedback form. And if the coaches don't score 5 stars, then that's the important thing. They've got to be constantly getting 5 stars from the camp attendees,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
without them having, or without me choosing the right coaches, I could be losing maybe 8, 10 camp attendees, thinking, well, I don't want to go and have a lesson with that person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's all wheels within wheels. It all has
Yeah.
to be, it's all derived, but the main focus is the camp. The camper is the one that is the important person here, because
Yeah.
it's their camp.
Yeah.
It, it's their experience and it's their journey,
Yeah.
and that's the ethos of the way I run my camps.
Yeah.
They're not for me. Yes, I'm there, but I'm ultimately running it for everybody that's attending.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
What's a common mindset or physical change that you see in people?
So on the first day of camp, they arrive with a bit of a terrified look on their face. Especially if they've not been off camp before, because yes, they've probably booked on it, and by the time they get to camp, they're thinking, "What the hell have I done?"
Yeah.
Y so I see that "What the hell have I done?" look quite a bit,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
when I'm and then they'll have the lessons on the first day, then on the second day, you can just see them completely unwinding, yeah, I'm up with the vibe and things like that. And then on the last day, I can guarantee they will be saying, "Have you got any spaces on the next camp?"
Yeah.
Because it becomes highly addictable. It
Yeah.
is, once
Yeah.
you've been there, and all the fears that you've got going to camp, am I going to fit in? Am I going to be okay on my own? Am I going to be this? Am I going to be that? And then you get there and you're like, oh my God, there's none of that.
No.
You know, we don't have seating plans. We you know, and I tend to find that you will naturally peel off with people that are in your group.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do try and keep the pods together. So, you get that friendship. You'll get friendship with the person that you're stabled next to, you know,
Mm.
somebody that you've helped out, that or they're helping you. It's just, yeah, it's just lovely.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
people that make the camp are the campers.
Yeah.
I do my bit to get us to camp, but the way the camp runs and the vibe and everything like that is from everybody that's attending.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
So we'll come back to camps in a second. I want to just talk a little bit about Granny in the Saddle, your
Right.
YouTube channel, because that's hilarious, isn't it? I absolutely love it. I think everyone should subscribe to that one. Tell us a little bit about it and how it came about.
Okay. So again, I'm of a generation. I'm 60. I don't mind saying that I'm 60. I wasn't brought up with computers, certainly not the internet or anything like that. But as an older person, I've learnt about the internet and things like that. And I'm on Facebook, and you're seeing all these per- perfect lives, for want of a better word.
Mm.
So somebody going and doing the perfect show jumping round, the perfect dressage test, going to the show, and the perfect this, that, and the other. And I was thinking, it's lovely. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I love Facebook, but I'd like to think that I use it in the right way. And I hold myself to this accountability. If I wouldn't say something to that person's face, then I'm not going to say it on Facebook.
Mm. Yeah.
And if I wouldn't be happy with my granny reading something that I posted, then I'm not going to post it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think if you stick with that, you're not going to go far wrong. Because I think with the internet, there's a lot of, well, I think if you're a bit deranged in life, you're deranged online.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put it that bluntly, and there's a lot of people, and I try to say this to people when I'm talking to them, that maybe haven't got anything in their life, and then, but they thrive on being nasty.
Yeah.
So then y somebody will post something online and the nasty comments start, and you have to take a step back and think, rather than, "Well, how dare somebody say that?" I always think, how sad must their life be if
Mm.
they were to come online to upset people?
Yeah.
Because there's enough upset in the world without having it in your
Yeah.
face, isn't there?
Yeah.
And then, so I decided, I didn't want to be an influencer. I certainly didn't want to be like, well, yeah, well, and all this, or I didn't want to be triggered by monetization or
Yeah.
anything like that. I thought I just wanted to start a channel for everyday horse people that may be struggling,
Yeah.
that may be thinking, do you know what? Having this horse is becoming a bit of a bind. Or that horse scares me that much, I don't want to get on it.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of us out there that, like, the horse I was telling you about with Michelle, you
Yeah.
know, towards the end, if somebody said to me, do you want to come for a hack? I'd be like, I've just got to paint the whole stable block first.
Yeah.
I'd come up with any excuse
Yeah.
rather than ride that bloody horse,
Yeah.
because, yes, I was scared of it. Did I want to go around with a big banner going, "I'm scared of my horse"? Of course I didn't. But so I was, like, doing it in, like, "Oh, do you wanna go for a hack, Liz?" I mean, I'll tell you one, we did go for a hack once. We went to a place by us, Sutton Park, and I'm hacking there on this bloody horse, and, as we go over the bridge, there's, like, these chevron markings for the people coming out the side road. So he sees the chevron markings, and he's like, and he's in the middle of the road, he's on his back legs, and he's, like, rearing but spinning at the same time, and I've still got cars trying to pass me.
Oh.
And I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die," and I'm thinking death thoughts all through this whole scenario. Anyway, eventually, I get him into the, Streetly gate, and at the time I smoked, and I got my fags out, and I couldn't connect my cigarette and my lighter. I was shaking that much. I was like, "Ooh." I honestly thought, and, and it was at that point that decision was made. This is not for me.
Yeah.
I am not enjoying this, because
Mm.
I am. Uh, every time I'm riding this horse, I actually think I'm going to die, and that wasn't fun. And my horses, they're my hobby.
Yeah.
They're not my. They're not my. They're not my life. They're not my career. They are for me to enjoy. And when I wasn't enjoying it, that was when the decision was made. And my God, that was the best decision I ever made, because I would never have achieved what I achieved had I have stuck with that
Yeah.
horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and I think as well, with the horse world, we've got this myth that somehow, and it's only, this myth is only with amateurs. We've got this myth that if we get help from somebody, we've failed.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And I
know that
don't know
one.
why.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
why people think that, because what's more of a failure, having a problem and going to somebody and saying, "I've really got this problem, could you help me?" And them saying, "Yeah, okay." Maybe them schooling the horse, whatever the issue is, it could
Yeah.
be that the horse has lost confidence in you, you've lost confidence in the horse. Just having that more confident person to just say to the horse, "Everything's okay," will help you. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't you take that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't see that as a failure. I see that as like using your noodle and
Yeah.
getting some help.
Yeah.
But I think what is a failure is painting the stable block because you don't want to ride the horse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Does that
Yeah,
make
because
sense?
yeah, because it can be so much more pleasant after you've called somebody in to help you, whatever the
Yeah,
problem is with your horse. It's just on the other side of this phone call that
yeah,
you start to make real progress and you start to enjoy yourself again.
yeah. And we've got to remember that it has to be enjoyment, you know. And like I do, and on my channel, I've got a lot of ones about getting your confidence and things like that. Because again, I think people have this misconception that, oh, well, you're all right because you're confident. Well,
Mm,
they're all right because they're confident, but even professionals
yeah,
aren't that confident, but they learn how to manage it.
yeah,
They learn. So, like when I was eventing, not that I do event that much eventing. In fact, I haven't done it for a year or so. But when I was eventing, I would walk the course and I would feel nervous, but I wanted to feel nervous
mm,
because I viewed it as good nerves.
yeah. There's a difference, isn't there? Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So if I walked the course and I was like, "Oh, yeah, 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 oh, that's easy. Yeah, that's easy. That's," then I'd be thinking to myself, "I've got to be careful because I could end up having a tumble here
yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
almost too cocky."
yeah, yeah. Too complacent.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So to me, and I think if you spoke to most professionals, they would say that they enjoy that nerves as well.
yeah, yeah. They do.
Where somebody going, "Oh, I'm nervous," and I say, "Yeah, but that's good. Nerves aren't a bad thing.
If
Nerves
yeah,
are what
if
keep
the
us alert."
if they're at that lower level rather
Yeah,
than when you're full on panic or frozen. But yeah,
yeah,
that lower level, that just kind of bubbling that sharpens you up a little bit for
mhm,
something like a competition
yeah,
or
yeah,
eventing or whatever. Yeah,
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 and then, as you've just alluded to, you've then got the nerves where somebody physically, and I can, I was definitely like that with that horse. Somebody is definitely petrified to get on the horse. It may be following a fall, or it could be anything. But the thought of getting on that horse is not just nerves; it is blind panic.
yeah,
You know, and then the way I would say to somebody, or the way I would deal with that is I would break it all down. So I'd be thinking to myself, I'm really nervous to get on Freddie, the horse, for
mm,
example. So I'd be thinking, okay, so tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up the yard and I'm going to just put the saddle on.
yeah,
So, but while I'm putting the saddle on, I'm observing, what is Freddie doing? Is he looking like he wants to eat me? Is
yeah,
he looking like he's quite relaxed? And am I quite relaxed around him? Now, because I know that all I'm going to do that day is put the saddle on, I'm starting to just
yeah,
breathe a little bit, just relax around him. So I pop the saddle on, I'm grooming him, I'm talking to him, you know, and then he's like, "Oh, okay." And he stood there and he's resting his back leg. And then I would think, "Right, I'm going to take the saddle off."
yeah,
And I would take the saddle off, take it completely off, pop it on the side of the, well, I'd put it on my stable door. No, I know that you shouldn't, but I would do that because I am naughty. And then I would groom him, and then I would pick the saddle up and I would just put it back on. And I would tighten it up, and I'd put my stirrups down, and I'd give him a little pat, and I'd run the stirrups up. And I'll probably do that 5, 6 times.
mm,
But each time now, my breathing, my anxiety is starting to lower.
yeah, yeah,
But what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't get greedy. My
yeah,
plan was to go up, and my plan was to put that saddle on. That's it.
yeah,
No more, no less. So then I've come away and I think, "You know what? I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased with Freddie today because look how good he was when I put that saddle on.
yeah,
But more importantly, I'm pleased with me because my God, I put the saddle. I didn't put it on once. I put it on 8 times. I can't believe I've done that." Now, what does that do? That is now storing in my confidence bank evidence that I can put that saddle on and I can be safe.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, right, I can do that. So do you know what I'm going to do tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm actually going to get on Freddie. So the next day I'll go up. So now I'm confident I can just put the saddle on. So I put the saddle on. I do the saddle up. And I always do the same thing. I will never just do a saddle up and take my horse to the mounting block. So I've got like a barn. So what I do is I always put the mounting block where to the right of where the horse stands where I tack up. I then walk up the barn and I walk to the mounting block. I always do that. And if I'm at a
Mm.
show, I will go around the horse box.
Yeah.
I will tack up, walk around the horse box and then present the horse to the mounting block. I never just tack up and get on. It's just something
Mm.
I don't know if other people do it, it's something I do, and it works well for me. Because then, while I'm walking the horse, I'm just looking. Are they happy? Are they relaxed? Am I allowing everything to stretch? They're getting the feel for the tack
Yeah.
before I'm even attempting to get on.
Yeah.
So then I would bring them to the mounting block, and I'd maybe get up on the second ladder of the mounting block, and then I think, give them a pass, get down, go up again,
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And I'll probably do that 3, 4 times till I'm not hesitating to walk up the steps. I'm actually confident going up the steps.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Then I'm on the steps and I think, okay, now I'm going to put my foot in the stirrup and I'm going to get on. Now I'm sat on, pat, walk 1 step, get off and repeat. And I would do that until my anxiety had dropped again
Yeah. Yeah.
because all I'm trying to do is build evidence,
Yeah.
my confidence. But every confidence, it takes years to build and seconds to lose. And that's where it takes your discipline to have a plan. So your plan is, I'm going to go up and I'm going to sit on him today. So
Yeah.
I've gone up, I've sat on him. Oh my God, he hasn't done anything. What I cannot do then is decide, oh, do you know what? I'll take him in the school.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
the plan was to go up, to sit on him. That's it. Stick with the plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I try and advise people or do it myself when I'm getting my confidence back up. I'm going to take it. So all these little bite-sized chunks suddenly start building a big solid foundation of confidence,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. But so and and uh, and then another thing, is another analogy that I use as well is like horse riding is like a game of snakes and ladders.
Yeah.
So, and I view it like that. So you're on a horse. So for example, if I look at I've got 2 horses. I've got 6 horses, but Dade and Zeus. Okay, they're both Irish draft thoroughbreds, and they're both from the same. So Dade's dad is Zeus's granddad. The horses couldn't be any different. So Dade, from the very start, from the very day I had him, I would go up the rung of the ladder, up the rung of the ladder, up the rung of the ladder, across, up the next rung of the ladder, up the next rung of the ladder. So my my career with Dade was always forward, always progressing, up the rung, up the rung, up the rung, across, up the next ladder, up the next ladder. So it
Yeah.
was always, I never ever, well, I can't, I can honestly not remember hitting a snake with Dade, you know? Now, Zeus, on the other hand, I mean, he's got his own history. I don't. He'd had a history before I had him, and I had him as a very young horse. But from the very day I had him, he was damaged. So I would go up 1 rung of the ladder, and I'd go down 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I'd go 3 rungs, down 6.
Yeah.
Then I'd go up a rung. I'd hit a snake, and it's- I couldn't catch a break of getting up the rung of the ladder.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but he taught me so much about horses, and even now, I mean, he's 18 now, and I never ever considered, even though I think he's put me in hospital maybe 4 times.
Oh God.
Yeah, I've not had an easy time with him, but I never ever considered getting rid of him because he would have had 100 homes.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. Uh,
Yeah.
I couldn't even give him a day off. That's how crazed he was, you know. But everything that had happened with him was human.
Oh, bless him.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't from the girl that I bought him from. So it wasn't his owner. I think she'd sent him away to be broken, and he came back well and truly broken, and not in the good way, you know. And then he was sent back. She couldn't do anything with him. Then I had him, and even now, if I take him jumping, I can't. If there's somebody stood by the practice fence, I cannot get him near that practice fence. And I have to say to people, "Excuse me, do you mind just standing away from the fence?" Because he's like that. He's petrified that they are going to batter him, and that's so sad.
Yeah.
You know, so my biggest regret with Zeus is that I didn't have him from a baby, because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would have gone up those rungs of the ladder. I mean, I have over the years gone up the rungs, but it's not been an easy journey with him. It's
Mm.
been a rewarding one, but it's not been easy,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. And you have to take each little win and just think, you know what? If you stick to your plans like what I've just said, you feel like you've achieved something. Because the biggest thing that knocks our confidence is when we think we're going to achieve the, or, you know, we think we're going to jump the moon, and actually we only jump a star.
Yeah.
Think, oh my God, you know, keep everything achievable and build it up bit by bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Super. Super. Well, if anyone wants more of those videos, which are very earthy, very practical, very much on a level with most riders, then it's Granny in the Saddle. I'm going to put it in the description box. Where else can people find out about the camps and about what you do?
so, I mean, I'm not very tech savvy, so nearly everything is on Facebook. So I've got a Granny in the Saddle on Facebook, although I don't really tend to use that much. And I've got Ace Adult Horse Camp is also on the saddle, or they can email me at aceadulthorsecamp@gmail.com, and I can answer any questions via email.
Fantastic. When's your
Um,
next camp?
so our next camp is the 18th to the 20th, I think, of or September. So only in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're full steam ahead on organising that,
Yeah.
and then we've got our 2027 camps to look forward to.
And are you always at Summerford or do you go to
Yeah.
different places?
So I mean, Summerford have invested so much in the pavilion, the stables, the cross country, the arenas. Uh, I just
The
I don't
shop?
know. There's many places. Yeah, well, the shop. Yeah, shop. The shop. Yeah, that's lethal.
Don't go in the shop
Yeah.
if you don't want to spend about
We're
£1,000.
talking about Hope Valley Saddlery.
Yeah.
Always a bargain in Hope Valley Saddlery. But yeah, so over the years with Jane, we tried other venues, but I don't think anything can match Summerford.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and even the ease in which, you know, it's a professionally run event centre,
Mm,
and you're dealing with professionals, and that makes life a lot easier as well.
yeah.
You know, so yeah, all mine are at Summerford.
Brilliant. Okay. I'll put everything in the description box. I'll put the postcode and everything for Summerford. So if anyone from outside the area doesn't know about it, then they can look it up and see the distance away. But thanks ever so much. That has been such a fantastic chat about all that you do and where you've come from. Thank you so much.
Well, hopefully, I've inspired somebody to think that they can build their own confidence up.